Hey there, Suzanne. Good to see you. Thanks for taking some time and having a conversation with me. How's everything going?
Hey, Damien, it's good to see you too. Everything's going well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thanks for joining me again. Just kind of wanted to get into it. So I wanted to pick your brain about some things to think about, what bases you want to have covered rolling out your surgical suite for some of the hospitals and healthcare organizations that are starting to do so. You've helped a lot of hospitals successfully stand up their surgical systems, and I wanted to expose two or three critical decisions or strategies that other hospitals should have in place well in advance of their implementation to ensure a smooth project.
Well, I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and one of the things that I have seen slow a project down is not knowing going in what your charge strategy is going to be, and if you're going to look at changing your charge strategy, because that can have a significant impact on the build. It can actually, if you're going to charge on a procedure specific level, you're going to need to have your procedure list built out to accommodate that, and it's probably going to need to be a good deal more specific and more voluminous than if you choose a charging mechanism like a time charge rule. So that's a decision that you want to have going in to the new implementation. And if you're looking at making a change to that strategy, you want to have that financial research already behind you when you start the implementation of your new software, so that you're not leaving your team waiting for decisions based upon what the difference in charging strategy is going to look like. And then the other things are things that you can do ahead of time to put yourself in a better position at the beginning of your implementation that seem fairly obvious, but have your procedure list cleaned up. Oftentimes it's already in an electronic system and you have multiple people that have had access to building procedures. You may have, one procedure that says laparoscopic appendectomy and another procedure that says appendectomy laparoscopic, and they're the same thing. So work through your list, clean it up, and then also look at your preference card process and how you're doing at making sure that those are current. It's very easy for preference cards to kind of get behind, and sometimes, especially in smaller facilities, your techs may just know what the providers want, but your preference cards aren't necessarily as up to date as they need to be. So as soon as you make the decision that you're going to move to a new system, you really want to look at that process that you have in place for making sure those cards are current, so that you don't have a team spending a lot of time building something into your system that is not what you want. So I could go on, but
No,
that's two or three.
that makes a lot of sense. I feel like once people get underway and they get into the project, if they're still thinking about these two areas, then
Yeah.
they're kind of already behind, right?
Right,
So the
exactly.
clock is ticking, and they're spending time and energy on things that they could have had ready for the actual transition of the project work. So I
Yes.
think they're great tips. Thanks. In this day and age, coronavirus, COVID-19, it kind of changed the rules on us all of a sudden, most recently.
Mm-hmm.
Up until recently, it really did put elective procedures on timeout, if you will, for quite a few months. How have you seen this impact some of the projects that you've been working on?
Well, you're right. It kind of put everything on hold across the board from a surgical standpoint. Really, it was, elective procedures were just completely off the table. And I think probably the biggest struggle in terms of workflow and what do we need to figure out was a really efficient way to be able to cancel those cases and then quickly get them back on the schedule once the restrictions started to be lifted. And I've seen a couple of different strategies for that. I've seen sites that thought about using the waitlist functionality in Expanse. I personally think probably the most efficient thing that I saw happen was that sites just expanded their background parameter settings so that when they canceled the cases, it allowed the canceled cases to stay in what's called the cancellation bucket on the surgery schedule for a prolonged period of time until such time as the restrictions were lifted, and then they could just select their new date and time and pull those cases back on. And as long as those cases were linked with their pre-surgical testing appointments, you could kind of do both of those steps in one in one process in terms of rescheduling the case and the pre-surgical testing appointment.
Yeah, excellent tips there. Yeah, thanks for kind of going over that with me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, hey, I always like to put people in the hot seat when I talk to them. Again, thank you for taking a few moments with me. It's great to kind of catch up with you here. I hope we get a chance to hang out a little bit once this whole thing is behind us with the pandemic, if you will. I want to put you on the hot seat, though, with a hot seat question. You ready for it?
Okay. Sure.
All right, excellent. So coronavirus, COVID-19, we're in the pandemic. What's your favorite hobby been?
Trying to stay active has been kind of difficult. So I've been surfing online, finding Tai Chi videos and old Taibo videos. I've actually been doing it in my spare time. And another thing that we did when we were kind of in the height of going nowhere, my husband and I found an old Gothic soap opera on Amazon Prime called Dark Shadows, and we actually binge watched Dark Shadows while we were in lockdown. So yeah, that was kind of fun.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I don't think I've heard about that yet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
with all the different Tiger King and all that type of stuff going on, yeah, I could definitely use a new show to watch. So
Oh,
I'll
this
check
was
that out.
old. Yeah, late 60s, early 70s. It's pretty campy, but it was kind of fun.
Hey, thanks so much for taking a few minutes with me. It's great to see you, as I said before. And again, looking forward to seeing you when this all blows past us.
All right, thanks, Amy. It was good to talk to you.